The best worst Thanksgiving. The best worst Thanksgiving. Focus question. What is the turning point of Zara in this story and why? It was Thanksgiving morning. This year, the Lee family was traveling from their home in Virginia to Grandma and Grandpa Lee's house in Florida. 9-year-old Zara Lee had been excited about the trip. Then she found out that their beloved dog, Tucker, had to stay at a kennel. Her family was almost at the airport when Zara spotted a Tucker's dog toy on the floor of the taxi. They must have forgotten it when they dropped him off. It had been an emotional goodbye. Dad basically had to tear Zara away from Tucker. Now Zara found herself blinking back tears as she picked up the wagging dog toy and curled it in her lap. Tucker was her best friend in the entire world, and she missed him already. In the car next to her, Zara's little sister, Pepper, kicked her feet and sang the alphabet song. Suddenly, Pepper reached over and snatched the dog toy off Zara's lap. "Quit it, Pepper!" Zara cried. She tried to yank it back, but Pepper held it tight. All of a sudden, a horrible ripping sound filled the taxi. Then clouds of bright stopping flew the air. Zara stared at the destroyed dog toy in her hands. "You are such a baby!" she screamed, causing Pepper to burst into tears. "Zara," Mom sighed. "Pepper didn't ruin Tucker's toy on purpose. She's only 3 years old, and you're the big sister, so be nice." Zara bit her lips and stared out the window. She was always getting into trouble for not being nice enough to Pepper, no matter what happened. Her parents didn't get that Pepper was wrong some of the time. Sometimes Zara pretended that she didn't have a sister at all. No little sister to mess up her room, no little sister wrecking her stuff, no little sister to look after. Zara closed her eyes and imagined snuggling Tucker's warm, soft fur against her cheek. The next thing she knew, Mom was shaking up. "Wake up! We're here!" Mom repeated over and over. Zara thought Mom's voice sounded a million light years away. Inside the airport, the Lee family joined the busy crush of holiday travelers. "Oh no," Mom growled. "Our flight's been delayed because of the storm in Florida." "How long do we have to wait?" Zara asked. Mom sighed. "The airline estimates 3 hours." "What?" Zara wailed. "Don't worry, kiddo," Dad assured her. "You can watch cartoons on the tablet." Zara perked up, but then, unfortunately, the tablet was nowhere to be found. Dad thought Mom had it, and Mom thought Dad had it. Finally, they realized they'd left it at home. "This Thanksgiving sure got off to a bad start," thought Zara. They had to wait and wait and wait. Zara tried to work on her activity book, but Pepper kept scribbling across the pages. Zara tried to read her comics, but Pepper kept interrupting her to ask what was happening in them. Finally, Dad took Pepper for a walk around the airport. When they came back, Pepper was holding 2 ice cream cones. Just as she leaned over to give one to Zara, it fell right in the middle of the picture of Tucker and Zara had just finished drawing, completely ruining it. "I hate you!" Zara shivered. "Zara!" Mom snapped as Pepper burst into tears. "Apologize to your sister." Instead, Zara crossed her arms and refused to say a word. She didn't say anything for the rest of the wait before their airline departed. She didn't say a word during the 2-hour airplane ride, except to inform the flight attendant that she wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and apple juice. She didn't say anything when they landed in Florida and waited in line for an hour to pick up their rental car. She didn't say anything when they finished chambering into the car, even after she stepped into a giant rain puddle. shoking her shoes and socks. This was turning into the worst Thanksgiving ever. It was 5 o'clock by the time they left the airport. The way to Grandma and Grandpa's house was dark and stormy. Rain lashed against the windows. It was like being inside a giant car wash that never ended. Suddenly, Dad pulled the car over. Uh-oh, it looks like we're not going anywhere, Mom announced. Zara stared out the front window. To her surprise, she saw a giant oak tree completely blocking the road. The wind must have knocked it down, declared Dad. Well, what are we going to do now? Zara spat. Her voice sounded scratchy after having been out of use for so long. Grandma and Grandpa's house is only 2 blocks away, Mom replied. We can walk the rest of the way. It's pouring rain, Zara protested. We'll get soaked. This was absolutely the worst Thanksgiving ever. A little rain never hurt anyone, Mom cheerfully insisted. Come on. They all climbed out of the car. Wind and rain whipped Zara's hair into her face. It was hard to keep her eyes open against the guests. It felt as though a giant hand was pushing against her whole body. You better hold onto my hand, Pepper, Zara cautioned. But Pepper didn't respond. Zara looked behind her, but Pepper wasn't there. She wasn't with Mom or Dad either. In fact, she was nowhere in sight. Mom! Dad! Where's Pepper? Zara shouted suddenly. She was scared. Where was Pepper? Pepper! Pepper! Everyone called. The wind seemed to blow their voices away. Then Zara heard a strange sound coming from the tree. Zara followed the sound. Her parents followed Zara. The sound seemed frantic. Zara's heart thudded in her chest as she pushed through the branches of the tree. What if Pepper is hurt? She thought. It seems to come from underneath a big leafy branch. Zara heaved it aside, revealing Pepper huddled beneath it. Zara grabbed her sister and hung to her tight. She felt as though an enormous boulder had rolled off her chest and she could breathe again. Why did you crawl under the tree? Zara asked. Look, Pepper exclaimed, pointing to a tiny yapping black and white puppy. One of the puppy's back legs are pinned beneath the branch. Mom and Dad were able to lift it free. Zara cradled the puppy snugly in her arms to keep it warm. Finally, they arrived at Grandma and Grandpa's house. Walking into the house felt to Zara like rubbing her face in Trucker's warm fur. Grandma and Grandpa were so happy to see them that they pulled everyone into an enormous group hug. Even though they were soaking wet, the delicious scent of Thanksgiving dinner filled the air. Zara hadn't realized how hungry she was. What perfect timing, Grandma remarked as Zara and Pepper settled the puppy down by the fireplace. Your grandfather and I have been thinking about adopting a dog from the pound. Speaking of dogs, Dad added, holding up his cell phone, we just heard from an employee at the kennel. She sent us a text message with a video of Tucker. Look how cute he is, playing tug of war with his new doggy friends. Zara smiled and sighed happily. Everyone was safe and sound. This had definitely turned out to be the worst Thanksgiving ever.